They're anything from what physics recognizes as particles to the things that biology studies, which is if you set up certain materials in a certain way, you get the benefit of a whole set of patterns that are there for you because they are facts of mathematics. Some of these are very simple things about the geometric shapes or whatever, or computational things, or very complex things like shapes of behavior. So some of these things actually, I think this is all relevant to neuroscience in that I think these patterns don't just set the structure of the body. I think to a large extent, they set the structure of cognition. I think some of these things we would recognize as behavioral propensities. So that's what I think. I think that then there's a research agenda of systematically mapping out that space by creating novel interfaces. So the normal embryo shows us one point in that space. If you just let the genome do what it does, you get, we know what you get. You get this like one thing. But what's the stuff around it? What are the other things it can do and why? And so by making various chimeras and xenobots and anthrobots and all this stuff, we can basically explore that latent space of possibilities and get to an understanding of the mapping between the interface and the patterns you get to really understand from this latent space of possibilities, why do you get specific complex outcomes at specific locations in specific scenarios. So that's what I think is going on.
So was Plato right?
First of all, I mean, okay, the only reason I call it Platonic space is not because I want to stick close to what Plato said, to whatever extent we know what he said. I use it, and I may at some point need to change the name, but for now, I use it because the mathematicians know exactly what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. Because it links, because this goes from, I mean, when let's face it, when biologists first hear this idea, they think this is nuts, because we have been sort of conditioned in our education to like a very sparse ontology. Nobody wants to be thinking about another realm of patterns.
Right.
We've got some chemistry, and we've got this three-dimensional space in which chemicals move. That's what we prefer. And in fact, most people would rather take the mysteries of emergence over thinking that there's this whole other space mm-hmm. around.
Well, and I noticed too, it was interesting to me as you were saying all this, you said your preference is not for that type of explanation. It's for the one that you just described to us. But you said it was your preference, and other people have a preference for a different type of ontology. How much of this boils down to just almost these aesthetic preferences that people have or don't have?
I think a lot of it, a lot, and these are, I would call them metaphysical preferences, because I can't prove. There's no rigorous proof that I can give you that emergence is the wrong way to think about it. But in the sort of these metaphysical preferences, like would you rather have a bigger ontology where you accept the existence of these other things, or would you rather lose predictive power somewhere else? What I think is very important is this: while it starts with metaphysical preferences, that's not where it ends, because where it ends is in the clinic. In other words, I'm not saying that this is a philosophical view, and if you prefer it, you can take it. If you prefer, you take the other view, and it doesn't matter, and we'll never know who's right. I don't think that's correct mm-hmm. at all.
You're saying we either will or will not derive concrete outcomes yes. that can be applied in the clinic from doing yes. things, version A versus version B.
Exactly. Exactly. I think these views drive very different research programs. They make certain things invisible or inaccessible. I mean, all models shut off something to enable something else.